Okay. At the beginning, I would like to ask you, how would you introduce yourself?
How I would introduce myself? Actually, I introduce myself as a trader, of course. I have no business with the development side of things, engineering side of things. I am HFT trade analyst and trader in my daytimes as well, because I use basically automation for most of the trades, and then I have discretionary vision as well. I still use that skill. So yeah, I'm basically a trader for the last 6 years. And before that, I'm a little bit of old guy, like Hart. Not as much as old as him, but I'm old as well. So I'm a bit of calm. I'm a bit of smooth guy in my trades as well. Like all of these stressful and intense days are just best for me, I can say.
So how did you get into trading in the first place?
It's a funny story, although it started as a bit of dramatic, as you can imagine. Because
Okay.
before COVID, like I was studying at the best university in my country. I was studying physics, but I jumped into the nightlife when I was too young, and then I was a DJ for a long time, and then COVID hit the world, and the first jobs that affected from COVID was nightlife related jobs.
Yeah.
All around the world, and then I started to have feel like unemployed because I have no income anymore, and I'm almost at my late 20s, and life started to be a little bit of boring and depressive for me. Then one of my closest friends started to trade, and he was in his last year at his degree. He was studying computer science, so he started to discover blockchain technology. He made me discover as well, and after 2 weeks of my start to read and experience things, I started to jump into perp trade, and here I am. Like it's been 6 years, and I spent almost 6 days every week across the greens. That's my story basically.
So you started in like 2019, round about that.
Yeah, late 2019.
Okay. And then you immediately started trading perps, or?
Like I had this, it was the boom of the NFT times. It was that era. I saw what was the name of the guy? People in the Normie platform at the Instagram. It was my first catch of the blockchain, let's say. I asked my friend, how is this blockchain technology works? He showed me Binance, and then he told me just buy Solana, just buy Ethereum, you'll be good. After 2 weeks, I was up like 20% in my first investment. And then I jumped into the NFTs and perp trades because, I had this limited inventory because I was unemployed for a long time. And basically, I saw perps as huge leverage into your inventory in the beginning. I have no risk management past. I don't know anything. It's just internet money. Like it's almost the same approach with everyone in the city. So, but I have this advantage in the beginning. My friend was used to get into CT before me, like for 6 months. He knew this heat map charts, etc. So I had like turbo in the beginning, let's say.
So he helped you to get into it?
Huh? What?
He helped you to get into it? He taught you how to trade?
Basically, he showed me the tools. He told me a couple of things about CVDs, about OBVs, and then he left me in the space, and I was trading. Let me try to remember. I was trading Mana and Sand at that time, I liquidated overnight, and it was the day that I decided to go into perp trading for like 12 hours a day. Because once you liquidate it, things change. And if you have enough OCD, you start to explore what did you do wrong and how can you do better. And then I started to use 1 minute charts before knowing it was the crucial thing. And I started to monitor charts every day. I started to read and try to understand what is going on in the tick charts at agro. Yeah, basically, he didn't give me any strategy and anything at all, but he just introduced me the tools very early so that I was not only using the exchanges charts and knew a couple other things except of the candlestick charts, basically.
I see. So how long did it take you to get profitable? Or were you already kind of profitable back then? How did that go for you?
Like, because I basically born into bull market and it was just too quick, I thought I knew a lot of things in the beginning. But then macro conditions changed, bear market started, and I see the dark side of the things for a long time. Obviously, my worst day was Luna Day because I was in short in the beginning, but I didn't know how the tech works exactly at that time. So I switched to long, thinking it's the lowest of the low, deepest of the deep, but it wasn't the case. So I lost my 60% of the inventory at that day. And after that, I started to build up more automated strategies for my discretionary trades, let's say. Like I discovered better part of the risk management and how can you stay market neutral while trying to position yourself directional. But Luna Day taught me one thing, and then that one thing saved me from FTX crash, which was, SPF was pretty shady before the FTX crash. He was using FTT for pumps and dumps for a long time. I remember like 8 weeks straight at specific day of the week, at specific time, he was just tweeting about it, and market was pumping, and then he was dumping right after 30 minutes. So I was trading at FTX, and when I saw this shady behavior, I withdrew all of my money, and it was the thing that saved me entirely.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That was good timing, I guess.
What? Can you say
that was good timing to withdraw your money then, I guess.
Exactly, man. I switched to Binance, and then, basically a year later, Hyperliquid showed up. I was much better. And during that time, after FTX crash, I joined this HFT business. And I started to understand microstructure a lot better as HFT analyst. And I discovered Hyperliquid because in HFT business, as you know, you need very good APIs in order to onboard the other big players. And Hyperliquid seemed like they are doing a lot better job than other DEXs. And we ramped up on operations on there, and it helped us increase our inventory entirely to a different level with their airdrop, of course. So basically,
are you still working together with your friend that introduced you, or who are you working together with on the HFT side?
Actually, I'm still working with my university friends.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's good that you have in real life friends, and even it's better if they are your friends before your blockchain crypto journey. So I'm working with my friends that they are my like 50% of the life of my spent with them, let's say.
That's nice.
So I trust them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're implementing the technical parts, and you're like more of the person that gives them the strategies, or how do you work together?
I have like pretty good engineer friend of mine, and he's building latency arbitrage bots, let's say, and his coding skills are very good, so that we have unlimited power at the latency side. And then I used to have a quant friend of mine. We are not that close anymore, so I basically work with the engineer friend of mine, and it basically works like I discover venues, assets that we can trade, and I basically tweak our spreads, code sizes, how we trade, where we trade, how should we code, those kind of things, and that's it basically.
Did you just like teach all of that to yourself, or how did you get into that? Do you have some study background?
To be honest, my background relies on physics. The only thing I understand is probability and mathematics before the crypto and trading world. And basically, I built my entire knowledge out of bunker.
Did you?
Yeah, because
interesting. Yeah,
it's like I'm one of those Insilico reply guys, you know.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I can imagine. All of the good guys are almost graduated from bunker lately. Man, I don't know. Like, there are a lot of good things in the bunker, especially in the video side, the SMBH and Axia futures video series are pretty good for order flow knowledge. And of course, even like strategy that Trip mentioned in Medium is crazy, man, about the liquidation trade, about knife catching.
Yeah, for sure. I also learned a lot of stuff from there. Like most of what I know is from the bunker, I guess.
Do you trade frequently, daytime?
I do, yeah. I trade. It's not like the main thing that I do, but I mean, since I work for the terminal, I use the terminal quite a lot. So if I'm like familiar and whatever, and I do trade when I can, yeah.
So you're one of the guys who know execution is important if you used to use terminal as well.
Yes, obviously. Since I mean, I like it so much that I even work for it. So
yeah, man, I can understand.
It's definitely very like I've never really traded otherwise. I think before, like when I started properly trading, when I really said to myself, yeah, I'm going to take some time to like put into it and learn it, I immediately started using the terminal because I already knew about it, and I never really used exchange UIs or whatever. But yeah, the terminal is definitely a very good tool to use if you trade, obviously, without chilling it too much.
I discovered terminal a little bit later than my beginning, like after 6 months, let's say. Because in the beginning I was using exchange UIs, it was shitty, like, and then I discovered terminal and everything resolved. And there was the swarm orders, there was the scale orders that exchanges mostly didn't have at the beginning of the times, like in 2020 or 2021, they didn't have advanced executions. So it saved me a lot.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely. Same for me. Do you still like, since you mentioned that you do mostly like HFT stuff, do you still execute a lot manually as well, or?
I still execute, to be honest. Like, I love the adrenaline side of things, and I still trade daily. And I'm one of those guys who trades if he feels like, if you know what I mean. Like, I don't really need to scalp every day.
Okay.
But when I feel like it, and if I feel like I will enjoy it, I jump into the market and trade.
So it's something that you enjoy doing.
Yeah, Like I mostly hold swing trades last year and this year, and reduced the frequency of the scalps because I feel like I don't need that tension and stress anymore in my life at this level.
So you mostly just trade out of enjoyment now?
For scalps, yes.
Okay. And the other part is more in the HFT and the swing trading side then?
Yeah. Like I spent most of my time with HFT thing, and for swings, you really don't need to chart things a lot. Even like 1-2 hours of session is enough. And for daily scalps, if I feel like it, I mostly use 5-second charts lately, especially. And my whole career built around 1-minute charts in the past.
So what's like? Do you use the classic? You mentioned the classic knife catching strategy. Is stuff like that what you do mainly, like mean reversion and stuff like that, or?
Mean reversion stuff, yeah. Like it's a bit of complicated than the other guys. I use 4 screens separately. As all of us, I use X Pro to discover sentiment around the city, and then EXO for advanced order flows. Basically, how risk metrics work around, like what is the open interest, what is the delta for specific candles, and I use it in the delta cluster mode to see exhaustion and absorption in daily candles, like in daily chart within 1-minute candles. And then I have these spaghetti charts to detect what I want to trade. What is the strength of the day? What is the weak sticker of the day? Stuff like that. And I basically try to create my entries around volume levels. And yeah, basically these tools.
When you look at the spaghetti chart to identify what you're trading, what exactly do you look for? Like the strongest coin of the day or the weakest coin of the day, or?
To be honest, I use spaghetti in 1 minute as well. And then if a liquidation happens, basic knife catching happens, and if I miss the knife catch, I try to find what is the strongest ticker after that liquidation. And if the day is that kind of day, like if there is a strength of the one coin that pulls 50% while others crabbing mostly, which means that either there is a manipulation or someone wants it too bad. So after that, I opened that ticker in EXO to identify key levels inside volume flows and order flows. And then once I decided my entry level and my structure for that trade, I start to execute either with limits or basically traps.
So you're basically like looking for the coin that like bounces the hardest when liquidations happen.
Exactly.
I see.
Because either with experience you can understand it, or you might read this thing in somewhere in city. In liquidations, mostly BTC crabs after the liquidation, but the strongest bounce continue to be strongest around the entire market, because when it catch the beat after a liquidation, it means that someone is moving it, right? And then that someone cannot execute the exit too quick. So he will write the ticker a little bit more. So that's when you want to trade, because it's
so you basically just jump on and ride along with them.
Yeah. I basically I basically chase the strength delta, let's say.
That makes sense, yeah. So that's like your main strategy when trading lower time frames. Do you also trade mean reversion when you do swing trades, or what is your strategy there?
It's actually, once you discover order flows, I used to have like, okay, this will be my swing entry, because I use less leverage than my daily scalps, and then this will turn into swing trade. I'll hold this for 2 months. I'm mentioning those kind of trades. When I enter a trade like this, but then thing changes with the new information that market brings, then I don't see any reason to hold that swing position anymore. And it immediately turns into scalp trade. So I try to have my entry in a best possible way. But then if that best point starts to become a bad entry, I immediately read out. I don't care. So I can go into a trade as a day trade, but it can turn out swing trade that I hold for 3 months. But it also can be a swing trade entry that turns into a scalp trade.
I see.
So it depends on the flows that market brought to you after you enter that trade.
Isn't that like psychologically stressful though in some way? I feel like for myself, if I like compartmentalize it a bit more, that it's like having different accounts for the kind of trades that I do, like the time frame of the trade, then it's like easier to differentiate between them. I feel like it's a bit stressful if like any trade can turn into like any duration of trades. What do you think about that?
If my liquidation level is not entirely like, if I have NA written in my liquidation line, then it's okay to turn that trade into a longer time frame trade for me, at least, because I can pay the funding for a quite long time without caring about it if I'm at the paying side. But once I know that I will not be liquidated from that position, then it's basically turns out mentally, it turns out into a spot trade for me, basically.
But would you also like what do you do then against backholding? I guess like would you backhold something to zero? Like when do you decide to cut it for good?
About it, I don't play trenches with size, and then with my size for trenches, it's like a gamble size with like 4-digit money, and it's something I don't care about. So if I backhold and it goes to zero, I don't fucking care about it. And mainly at perps, I trade coins that have value in it. What I mean is I basically trade majors, hype, and the coins that has reflexivity narrative around it, like fart coin, Pepe, things like that. So if I backhold, I know that that shit will not go to zero.
I see. So you take stuff that at least has like some interest or some narrative or whatever behind it.
Yeah. It's a big part of the journey. As I said, I use X Pro, and like Twitter is not that insightful. Everyone says it was used to be a lot better, etc. But I remember in 2022, it was almost the same. It's just new class is more concentrated, and the OGs are more faded away in the city, and that's why people feel like it's a lot worse. But just people become like entire community become younger. So
how did you first discover CT?
because of my friend again, like he was into CT for 6 months, and basically at that time, at that era, you can just go to someone else's profile and check who is following that guy and who that guy follows. And I just go to my friend's profile, opened up the followings, and then followed all the guys. But after that, I spent a lot of time in Twitter reading things. What are people saying? And then I started to take people like, this guy is legit. What he says is true. He mostly knows what is the current market environment, etc. Things like that.
Yeah.
And after a long time, now I have this concentrated, very, very, very tight Twitter list. When I go there, I see almost everything what people talk about, what is the current narrative, what is the ticker of the day, etc. Things like that.
How long have you been around on CT? Because I feel like I've only started seeing you this year, I think.
Yeah, I was like in stealth mode for a long time, for like 5 years. I only read, and sometimes, very rarely, I reply to an account that I see as my mentor. And then during last December, I decided to join the city as content creator, let's say, because I started to feel like, after one point, I started to feel like I was entering a trade, and then I was seeing my position at my mentor's portfolio as well. Like, the guys who I admired started to post their positions after I also entered that trade. And then when I started to realize, okay, I started to become a good trader, I started to become how I start to think like how my mentors think. When I feel this is happening more frequently, I decided, okay, I'm at the point that I can write and I can teach people. And I decided to join the city.
Interesting that you lurked for this long and then only came out of the shadows quite late, I guess.
Yeah.
But I think I found your account quite intriguing when I first saw it, so that's also why I wanted to talk to you. Do you have like many what do you think about CT, like, compared to how it was before? I guess you already said that like the OGs are a bit more reserved now compared to back then, right?
Like, we used to have guys like Haseka and Light, and even Insilico was sharing strategies back then.
Yeah, true.
Like, it's the thing. But nowadays, no one really shares really a strategy. Only Nomad posts 500k Bitcoin is destiny. That's the only alpha. So, but then if you have key points, keywords that you know you can search around, like if you go to Insilico's profile and search for certain keywords, then you will find bunch of information, bunch of insight about markets.
Yeah.
And then if the environment has changed for Bitcoin, for example, for Ethereum maybe because of the CME flows, and then you can also apply exact same strategies as at most of the altcoins, especially at the illiquid ones. And then alpha is still there, but for those who know how to search for it.
That's a very, very good way to put it, I feel like. Yeah, it's definitely... I remember when I was there back then, it felt like people, like, when I think about it right now, people used to share a lot more strategies and stuff like that, which I don't really do that much anymore. And I've also done the same thing, like I've searched keywords a lot on Trip's profile just to like learn stuff and whatever. Because even if like the environment changes, there's like, I don't know how you could call it, I guess some wisdom to the markets in there that is like timeless, and then you can still use to adapt and adjust to the current market conditions, and it's still very useful.
Exactly, man. Exactly. Like, even like maybe this will close the opportunity of positive trades for me at the current environment. But even now, like, I'm eyeing the flows at the EXO for the most illiquid coin at Lighter, and since Lighter is the most retard activity venue right now, you will see inefficiencies. For example, I was trading Floki today, and at EXO you will see flows.
Yeah.
Market moves like 1%, and at Lighter you can still execute manually to trade those gains, like, because the price difference is still there.
Oh, really?
Like, things like that still happens, and you just gotta work for it. Like, you just gotta experience it, open the charts, monitor it, play with small size just to experience if you're idea will
Mm-hmm.
come true. Like things like this, like you'll still find these inefficiencies all over the market.
So there are like price dislocations between centralized exchanges or whatever and lighter, for example, on coins like that.
Yeah,
I see. And then you just basically trade to bring them back in line, like arbitrage.
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And this is just one thing, like if you want to gamble with your money for just for fun, knowing that you will win slowly but surely,
Mm-hmm.
then you can just go and play for this.
I'm actually very curious about that from you because I think you are someone that talks a lot about farming the perp DEXs that are out there currently, as you have done with Hyperliquid before, I guess. What do you think about the current landscape of DEXs, like compared to can they compete with Hyperliquid, the ones that are not Hyperliquid, I guess?
To be honest, lately, like for this new meta, for new perplex meta, like I always consider myself as trader. Like I never consider myself as a farmer, but Hyperliquid was something different for me. Like because after I started the trades, I never see like I always try to trade at DEXs because it's the ethos of the crypto, and the more the decentralized, we more like it.
Yeah.
And we all don't like place like CZ. And then because of it, I was always trying these
Mm-hmm.
test trades at every new DEX, and then Hyperliquid turned out the big one, and it it was just a spark on my career. And then around this February, some guy from CT came to me like, if you want to trade, you can just discover this one as well. There's this new kid in town. And I started trading there a little bit later because I was waiting for the API integration. Because, like,
on lighter, you mean?
yeah, because, like, I didn't want to spend my time farming the points at Lighter and wanted to start directly from API. But I waited like 3 weeks, 4 weeks, and then I realized that they will not give me this API integration too quick. So I need to start doing something. And then I knew that I was trading BTC a lot better than the alts if I would scalp for like 5 minutes of trades during the day just to push the volume and bring some bips into the book. And I started pushing a lot of volume on the Bitcoin, BTC, and yeah, like I still don't consider myself as farmer, but for this perplex meta, it's something that will change the crypto world entirely. Because I feel like there was BitMEX back in the days, and everyone was trading there. And then Binance showed up, everyone switched to Binance. And then FTX came out, everyone started to use FTX because, collateralization at the FTX for perp was a little bit of different than the Binance, and it allowed players to use their every asset just as collateral as perp. This was something quite interesting, and people liked it, and it took a lot of market share. But then, because of they do shady stuff with Alameda, FTX just crashed out, and people start to lose their faith and lose their trust on the centralized exchanges. I remember that a lot of users just withdrew their money to on-chain after FTX crash out of exchanges. Like I'm sure that you remember those days as well. And with Hyperliquid, everything has changed. I know that they have a lot less validator than they should have. I know that there are order maintenance issues and latency issues lately,
Yeah.
but they just opened up a new paradigm, and I guess the end game will be at least the Jack's share at the overall market share will drop significantly, and these new perp taxes will take the launch out of them,
Interesting.
basically.
Very interesting take. Do you think they can even compete on like the lower time frames? I feel like that is still where sexes have like an advantage. That it's like way more convenient and like smooth to trade on the sex if you trade on lower time frames.
I don't think it's safer, but like because of different mechanics, DEXs are hard to use if you use high leverage. I'm saying this because DEXs have their own insurance fund just to protect these liquidations, like just to hold the liquidation cascade in a tight level. And at DEXs, they don't have the insurance fund, and they just bring the liquidity with their own market making bots, which means that since there is no insurance fund, once you opened up a high leverage trade, this means that your maintenance margin will be a lot bigger than what you used to have in Binance, for example. If you use 50x leverage, let's say at Binance, it means that you need to have 0.2%, let's say, as maintenance margin. But at Hyperliquid, with the same setup, you will probably have like 0.8% of your margin for maintenance margin. There is a significant amount of change in terms of maintenance margin, and this affects your liquidation line, and then this affects your whole trade setup. This is the only problem that I saw as onboarding users, but you can still work around of it. Like you just try to focus on a little bit of less leverage. If you used to use 50x, then you can just switch to 15x and it will resolve. But yeah, if you have inventory problems, if you have less stable than what you should have, if you trade with small size, then you might go to DEXs just to trade with most of the leverage you can find.
Yeah, I think the margin requirements is definitely a valid point. But I was more so thinking about like the latency and the speed if you execute like on very low time frames, I guess, because I feel like DEXs are still a bit slower than centralized exchanges at this point. I think lighter is kind of isn't their proposition to be like very fast. Do you have any opinions on that?
Since we didn't just implement it lighter onto our setup, I just don't have the insights on that side, but they say that they are much faster than Hyperliquid, and I tend to believe it.
Okay.
Like if you eyeball the Explorer of lighter, you will see that they execute too fast. Like if you just eyeball Hyperscanner and lighter scanner side to side, if you compare them, you will just see the slight difference. And in general, for HFT, DEXs are still reliable and trustable in terms of like continuation and in terms of durability, because we are experiencing latency issues at Hyperliquid lately for the last 1 week, and we started to have a lot of order rejections. We didn't change, even though we didn't change anything, but we also know that it's happening because of server load, and we just tend to believe that Jeff and his team has experience and skill to deliver and resolve the issue. And it's a long-term game, It will not happen directly, but people in general just exhausted from Jack's cabals. And I tend to believe this theory because we all know, like, their listings, their liquidity, their stop loss rounds, their liquidation rounds. We all experienced this stuff back in the days, and it's too obvious that this will not happen in the DEX world. And maybe this will take time, but I again believe that slowly but surely, DEX will take the entire pie eventually. The only thing is that's OPSEC from my point of view, and because I'm thinking about it, and the reason is basically I experienced a lot of exploits and a lot of DeFi issues when I entered the space. Like there was breach exploits, there was hacking exploits. So if operational security will be secured in the DEX world, and if nothing happens, and then people will trust DEXs and switch the site and onboard the entire on-chain meta. Because it's better, like it's more fun to trade at DEXs. You have these new tools to track down positions. We had this James Wynn saga back in the days, 2 months ago. It was too fun to monitor and trade against it. Like it's just by itself, it's offered entirely a new strategy for the people who knows how to trade it.
Do you think it's going to be like? Do you think any of the newer ones will compete with Hyperliquid, or is Hyperliquid the winner for now and will be for like the foreseeable future? Or do you think if like Lighter, I don't know, improves and drops their token or whatever, then they will also have take market share from Hyperliquid?
We just cannot say the. Okay, let me say this. If you go to Lighter Foundation website, you will just realize it's VC backed. So there is VC in it, and we just don't know how will be the airdrop distribution, how will be the tokenomics of the Lighter token, and then if they will distribute most of the tokens to the community. These are still in question. So what Hyperliquid did was entirely new thing, like they airdropped most of the tokens in the circulating, and then they announced almost 97% of buybacks with the fees, and then they introduced their blockchain. There are a bunch of good projects built around Hyper EVM. Like Hyperliquid entirely opened up a new paradigm, and they will lead this new paradigm longer than what we can expect. But I tend to believe these new DEXs as not as competitor to Hyperliquid, but as a new steps. Like Lighter has this privacy feature in it, and it's more fast than Hyperliquid, faster than Hyperliquid, and then this will offer them a spot for what Bybit has at Jack side. Like Binance is pioneer, and Binance is the leader, but there is also Coinbase, there is also Kraken, there is also Bybit, there is also OKEx. So they also create a lot of volume. We don't know it's wash volume or not, but we know that there's liquidity, and you can basically go there and trade hundreds of millions of dollars positions. And this means that we just don't need to have just one exchange, and we can still have other exchanges, and they might have market share against Hyperliquid, against JAXs, and it's okay. Like we need to have all of them, to be honest. And other than Hyperliquid, other than Lighter, as you all know, I use Extended, and I'm one of the first guys who onboarded there. I love Extended because basically I see Maru as one of my mentors, and he's working on unified margin system there, which is very new thing for DEX world as well, and it's exciting. And then basically on-chain stock exchanges like WestJet just started trading on the mainnet. This is new, and this is entirely different meta to the market, because now you can just trade stocks on chain. That's with concrete OB, order book, CLOP structure. And yeah, I guess things will get better on the DEX world, and yeah, we will see the collapse of the JAXs in the near future.
Do you think that will happen? I'm not sure if that's so close. I feel like that's a kind of a vision that we have had in this space for a long time. But I don't know if I would go with you in saying that their market share will decline, but I don't know if I would go as far as say collapse. Although I don't know, we don't know
I mean,
what will happen in the future. But I agree with the take that it's like Hyperliquid is maybe like the Binance of the DEXs, and then other ones
yeah,
are like other sexes that we have now.
yeah.
I think that makes a lot
And
of sense.
I just don't say this JAX collapse, CX collapse as short-term idea. Just in the near future, maybe in the mid-term future, maybe, but in 10 years of span, we will see a lot of changes in exchanges. Basically, everything will be on chain, I think. And with this new base app, even if it's directly related to Coinbase, we know that Americans will onboard via that app, right? And that is also in the theory that is also on chain. So it will be another thing. And even with this new meme meta that started after the FTX collapse, you can see that whole investment approach to younger generations are shifting to more digital world. What I mean is they
Yeah.
started to trade meme launchpads, Pont.fun started, people started to gamble there, and it's all on chain, right? None of the sexes had a pie, and it will just ramp up day by day.
But I wonder if the decentralized exchanges will have the same capacity as centralized exchanges, like just from speed and I don't even know how to call it, like speed and execution standpoint, if they can compare to the centralized ones.
I mean, in terms of execution, the most important thing is liquidity, and Hyperliquid has enough liquidity for sure. You can trade hundreds of millions of dollars of positions at majors. Like James Bean opened up billion of position and market didn't move while he's executing. It's okay. But in the latest terms, you're right. Like Hyperliquid had times that their speed was very, very, very close to Sex's, but yeah, lately, as I said before, lately they started to have these server load issues, and yeah, of course, on-chain execution has its limitations in terms of speed and in terms of transaction per second, basically. But we will, and I agree that we will still need sexes, but in the long term, I don't think speed will be the issue. You know, new technologies are started to emerge. Lighter use, a little bit of different approach. They use zero snarks and zero knowledge proof, and also they execute trades as parallel and then send the block as a batch to ZK as to. And I'm not entirely see myself as expert of blockchain executions, but I know that if this new perp DEX meta can attract a lot of new users and capital into it, then I also know that technology will improve and people started to resolve the speed issues and latency issues that comes with it. And you know, it just needs technology to work around of the meta.
I mean, I guess if we go into the future in like 10 years, then there might be enough. Like 10 years is quite a long time, especially with technology. So there might be enough advances where the speed, as you said, won't be an issue anymore.
Exactly. And I don't know what you think about it, but I see perps as the core of the system, because meme coin trading meta can change, everything can change, but at perps you usually trade most liquid assets with much deeper liquidity, and since TradFi just started to onboard it to Bitcoin and Ethereum, volatility has decreased a lot, especially on the Bitcoin. And just because of the liquidity and because of the leverage that's offered to you, even at the DEXs, people will eventually, one way or another, onboard themselves onto the perp trading, and there will always be volume at perps. And this means that there will always be revenue for teams.
I agree. I definitely agree. I feel perps are probably the best, one of the best things that came out of crypto. And I mean, perps are kind of the reason that the terminal even exists. So obviously, it's a very core part of like what we are doing. But I wanted to ask one more thing actually, because I think you're also in the Hyperliquid ecosystem a bit. Like, do you think there are any interesting projects there? Is there anything that is like catching your attention on the Hyper EVM or anything like that?
To be honest, like since I just experienced myself in perp trading, I have a lot less knowledge about blockchain technology itself. I started to discover it around 3 years ago. I experienced from the first hand, which means that I tried to use all of the chains that I can find, even Injective, even Celestia. I tried to DeFi it there, even there, believe me. And then this helped me understand what should, like, what must be in the ecosystem as blockchain DeFi. And I just know that liquid staking is big part of the DeFi, because you can go full degen, right? You can, for example, for Kinetic, you can just go to Kinetic, deposit your hype, and borrow against your hype. You will get K hype, then you can lend that K hype into Hyperland, for example, and then borrow USDC against it, and then go buy hype again, and keep this loop till you have enough leverage in your system. And this is offering a little bit of different leverage loop for you than the perps. And I liked this mechanism as well. So I can say I allow lending, borrowing platforms. I allow liquid staking. This means that I love Kinetic and Hyperland. I also use Felix since from their testnet days. And basically, I try to discover what Liminal is doing, because I'm also doing funding ARP with automation, and they are doing funding ARP with like between spot and perp. What I do is a little bit of different, like than that. Like I don't do spot and perp trade, and I try to understand what they are doing. So I'm holding like test inventory in there. So that's all for me. Like, and other than that, like lending, borrowing, liquid staking, that's all.
So you do more like cross exchange funding arbitrage then, if you don't do like spot and perp?
You can say cross exchange funding arbitrage plus liquidity mirroring basically, or you can search it as liquidity provision. And in my end, what I need is volatility and volume, preferably volume that's coming from retail flows, because it creates a lot of price depreciation between exchanges. And if you have fast boats, that means that you can catch retail flows and price discrepancies.
I see. Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
But lately, I saw that like even with manual execution at perps, you can just execute small amounts and grind like 300 APRs yearly. And believe me, every day there will be new ticker. So this means that you just need to tap in to a position, and then around 18 to 24 hours later, you just need to top out and enter another again. And there will be always funding ARPs that will offer 300% APR yearly. So in the end of the year, you can end up with 4x gain, just staying data neutral, executing each day, just for once.
You're leaking a lot of alpha here.
Yeah, there is, man. Like, in theory, there is. Maybe I can send you what I look at in DMs after the meeting. But yeah, there is an opportunity. Because, once something is new and there's not enough liquidity, and this means that if you can work out of it in a smart way, you will be the one who squeeze the plus EV out of that trade. Because there will be always guys who tries to farm points, who tries to do something, and you will just be the counterpart of them. It's that easy if you just squeeze them out. Yeah,
that's a good way to look at it. I think this is a good point to come to the end. Is there anything else that you want to say, that you want to talk about?
I can say,
or is there anything you want to share at the end where people can find you or anything like that?
People can find me on Twitter for sure as Alucard Trades. And the last thing I want to say, if you, just to inspire new guys, if you look at the guys who made it in the end, you will see that in their lores, you will see that almost 90% of almost all of them liquidated a portfolio before. Almost all of them tried to stay around. Almost all of them had the enough OCD to understand what is going on at the markets, and almost all of them made it out of nowhere. So just stay around, just have the passion in yourself, and even if things look like worst, believe that there will be an opportunity for you, and you will do it. Just stay around and try to educate yourself. And yeah, that's all.
That's very good advice. Just all you need to do is stare 16 hours a day at a screen for 2 years, and then you might make it.
Yeah, I mean, it's mental. I know. I am damaged a lot. I know. I'm not the guy I used to be. But in the end, I know that I used to think about my elder era, and I used to have this stress and tension on me when I think about my older ages, even though my family have enough to retire me for till my end, let's say. But now I feel like I can do everything I want. I can go everywhere I can. Because of my past, because of my social past, I mentioned that I used to do DJing. Because of my social past, I have still communication skills, and I can resolve everything I want in my day-to-day life. And this means that I will not be the guy who stays all of the time in the city when things got a lot better, and I see myself as at the retirement level. So just have the social life around you, and even though you will be mentally ill, and at the end of the day, there will be guys, friends all around you, real ones, if you keep your communication levels at a good level.
That's good advice and very, very inspiring. Thank you very much for talking to me today.
Yeah, of course, man. I said that because most of the guys who've seen a lot of screen time in the city seems like they're alone and they are rich, but they don't have any friends to go around, go to vacation. And I just wanted to say it's not the case. Like, you can do both of
them. Yeah,
for
sure.
If you have,
I agree.
Yeah.
Well,
thanks a lot. It was a lot of fun.
Thank you very much.
This volatility today.
Yes.